Hello everyone, this is CJ Novo 992 and today we're back for another brand new video. Now today's video we are here to discuss a delicious Rangers rumour that as of 27 minutes ago just got a hell of a lot spicier because the Players Club has actually came out and gave us an interesting update regarding this rumour. Aye, that's right ladies and gentlemen, there's actually a bit of depth and a bit of content to this week's Rangers rumour, which is just weird to actually say. But before we dive in and get doing that cheeky little rabbit hole, as always a quick little shout out to the channel sponsors and the channel legends themselves, OneFootball, who have a free footballing app. And again, if you didn't catch my video the other day, they're now going to be showing selected Champions League and Europa League qualifiers live on the actual app for free. But to business then, shall we? And as you may or may not already have known so far this week, Rangers have been heavily linked with Daniel Johnson from Preston. You've heard accounts that pretend they're in the know and stuff like claiming that a fee's been agreed and the deal's done and the medical's done and this and this and this and it's just ready to be announced. But me and we've been in this dance for far too long now. We knew all that was utter pish. Especially this season with Rangers doing their transfer business quietly and effectively, pretty much like all of us in the old Splinter Cell games. Now of course there's been a couple of exceptions to that rule, and with a couple of media outlets getting it absolutely spot on with your likes of Bassey and your Leon Balogun, so it's kind of left us in a weird spot so far this season as fans of this football club in terms of the old Rangers rumours and transfer news. And that's kind of what we try to do here on the channel. We try to navigate through all that BS. So let's try it again then, shall we? Let's go ahead and discuss this Daniel Johnson to Rangers link, and let's discuss the man himself. And starting off with the old player profile, Daniel Johnson is a 27-year-old Jamaican midfielder who is as comfortable in the centre of the park as he is in that number 10 role in the much more advanced attacking midfield role, which right there ticks a major box right away. But regarding the actual man himself, he is heavily left-footed, but uses his ability, his frame and his technique very similar to the way that Joe Aribo does. So the fact that he is so one-footed doesn't become a problem because he's always able to create that little yard of space, whether it is to get a pass off on his left foot or have a shot. That's right ladies and gentlemen, he is an attacking midfielder that likes to shoot from range. I'm getting emotional. Now, all joking on that aside, Daniel Johnson has to be considered a late bloomer in terms of his output on the park, as he's gotten so much better over the last couple of seasons, especially last season at Preston, where he's just been putting out performance after performance and swept up in the awards. Now, as we've just mentioned, his club Preston, it's worth noting he only has 1 year left on his deal, and as I'm currently recording today's video, it doesn't look as if he's going to commit his future at the football club. It certainly appears to be that he's on his way out of that football club. But before we go doing that, let's pull it back and focus in at Preston then, shall we, and transition away from the player profile and get to some numbers and stats. And starting off with his most recent season in football, last season for Preston has to be put down as his breakout year because he was absolutely outstanding. In 34 games in total, he scored 12 goals and grabbed 8 assists, which in and itself is brilliant. There's no other way you can actually say with that. But as I did mention, that was by far his breakout season where he was at the top of his game, because the season before that, couple goals here, couple assists here, and that's kind of been the sort of the form of the man over the last 4 to 5 seasons. But he's been on the up rather than the downs, which is always a positive. And to be actual fair to the laddie, he wasn't always playing the number 10 role and more of the focal attacking point of Preston. For a lot of that time he was playing in more of the Davis / Ryan Jack role until maybe, I don't know, 16 to 18 months ago, where he's bumped a bit forward and he started to get those rookie numbers up. And speaking of numbers, let's take a step back and look at not only last season but his entire footballing CV, because at the age of 27 years old he has played 244 games in which he has scored 46 goals and he has 33 assists to his name, which if you start to break down the old mathematics of it, at least it's my maths, it's probably wrong. It actually means he averages a goal every 5.3 games and averages an assist every 7.3, which again isn't great, but it isn't terrible either, especially when you see the way his career has been gone. But with that being said, let's move away from the old numbers then, shall we, because he is a talented football player. I don't think I can really stress that enough, how good he is own that ball. He's got the ability just to pick the ball up and glide by people and drive by people. And yes, his stats and goals maybe didn't just jump out to you completely, but you also have to put it in the context he is playing for Preston, who finished 19th in the Championship, who didn't exactly dominate and get loads of shots off and absolutely hammer opponents. When he comes up here, if he does come here, I should say, if he's playing in a Rangers team, let's be honest, he's going to get more opportunities to get on the ball. He's going to get more opportunities to add to that goal tally, and that's when I think you'll really see the best out of him, when he's able to get and really go for the final third. And that right there transitions me perfectly into the old competition for places, because like I said right at the start of today's video, for me, and this is just me being honest, this is a massive tick, because I honestly think we need to go out there and get someone and a bit more attacking, who's a bit more creative and who's willing to keep raining down shots, because we know what we're going to face week in and week out. And if you see the wee injuries we've been starting to pick up now, it does make the team look just a little bit vulnerable in a couple of areas. And you're looking at someone who's played over 100 times in his career at the centre, the part that can play in there and still offer going forward and drive the team forward. Kind of, I wouldn't necessarily say he's a box-to-box maestro, but he's able to get on the ball and get us forward there if need be. But by far, his best position is in those attacking areas. And speaking of attacking areas, that's what we do so well right now with our interchanging attacking lineup. And I see with Barker being injured now with his hamstring, I'm seeing Aribo out for another month. I could definitely see this type of player going in there and being very successful. And again, that's just my opinion. Feel free to completely disagree and say we need this position or this position. That's why that comment section is there. It's usually for telling me off. But now it's time to move away from the actual player for just a very brief moment and move over to the club, because I said right at the start of today's video, this one is very interesting, because the club has actually spoke out about all this transfer speculation, and this is genuinely what the club's had to say on the matter. Now, I'll leave the full thing down in the description if you want to read the entire thing, but on today's video, just for length, and I'm not wanting to bore you guys, I'll just sort of skim over it and pick up the highlights. Match of the day-esque. Preston have came out claiming the fact that clubs are using the media to do their bidding for them, which is just absolutely laughable, especially considering the Rangers' relationship with the media. But again, that's no confirming that they are actually aiming that at Rangers, and that is something that we need to take away from this. It's not coming out and naming Rangers, it's just the way it's been said. And I mean, it doesn't look good when you look around the teams that is linked with some of their players, because it's kind of Rangers dominating the news, but there is a couple other clubs, Championship club here, Championship club here, it's also linked with the players as well. Now, they did go out their way to call out the so-called experts, claiming the fee was agreed and this deal was done, kind of doing what we done and kind of laughed at it earlier on. Well, they came out and absolutely roasted these people for just making up lies, and they went on to confirm that there has been no bid accepted, there's been no fee agreed. However, they did go on to say this: any approaches that have been made have been underwhelming in both quantum and payment timescales, end quote. Which doesn't exactly rubbish that a team is in for maybe your Daniel Johnsons or a couple of your other key players. In fact, it goes ahead the exact opposite, confirms that teams have made approaches, but the moolah hasn't been on point. So for me, what I go from that is, if you want to have our players, you need to up your bids. This isn't a hands off or a he's not gone anywhere or this is completely made up and there's nothing in this. This is a we want some moolah. And that's kind of where we're going to end this statement breakdown right there, because it kind of tells us everything we need to know. Now, if you want to read the full thing, because it does go in a wee bit more detail, again, the link is down there in the description below. But for me, it confirms approaches have been made, and when you actually look into it and see that Daniel Johnson wasn't a part of the squad or their latest squad at all, it certainly suggests that he may be on the other end of some of these approaches that's actually out there. So it is interesting and very tasty. But with that being said, now it's time for you guys to share your thoughts and opinions out there on this. Now you know a little bit more about the player Daniel Johnson, and you know a little bit more around the truth regarding this transfer. Get your thoughts and opinions down there in the comment section below as I ask you watching today's video. Do you think we should sign Daniel Johnson? And two, do you believe this rumour to be true? While you guys are hopefully getting your thoughts and opinions out there, I'll give you mine very briefly. I'm kind of split on this one, because if you're looking at it on paper, it completely like ticks kind of all the boxes that we actually need. And again, some people might point out the fact that he plays for Preston who finished 19th, but again, look how good Joe Rebo is, and he done it in a league below what Daniel Johnson is doing it in a week in and week out basis. So I never judge a player on what league he comes for or what level he's actually playing. If he's got the talent and he's got the tools, let's give him a chance and see if he's got something. And this laddie clearly has got a wee bit of something special. So for there, I can see us signing the laddie, but I don't know, maybe the way Preston's came out here and kind of blasted this may actually put us off with the way that they've kind of went about this whole scenario. So I think I'm actually going to go, I'm just going to flip the coin, imaginary coin. Oh, look at that. It means I believe it. And with that truly awful of this week's Rangers Rumour, that is us all done and dusted. I've been CJ Novo 92. Thank you so much for watching. If you are new around here and you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, please consider doing so. It's free, doesn't cost you a penny, and it just helps us on our way to hopefully one day reaching 55k. But all the best, ladies and gentlemen. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next one. And bye-bye.